Hey everybody, welcome back to MiniBike Mike's Garage. So this morning my job is to build a video from this weekend's 90-mile ride. And you know, when you go into something like this, you have such high hopes that, boy, you're just going to produce this fabulous video that everybody's going to love. And you're just going to show all this content and so forth. But in reality, this is not going to be that great a video. I apologize, but I really don't have any regrets. I was talking to Alex, who we built the green CT70H with the Life, and talking to him yesterday, and he made a great comment. I asked him if he had any pictures or film footage or anything, and he said, you know what? He said, I was living in the moment. I didn't really take a whole lot, and that pretty much sums up the whole weekend. I didn't take a lot either. I mean, it's interesting, you know, I have a YouTube channel and I film a lot of my day-to-day activities and so forth, but that's when I'm by myself. That's when I'm, you know, when I'm here. When you get around other guys and so forth, it's, I had the same experience when I went to see Mike Brown out in North Carolina. You know, I had such high hopes of really producing a nice video with him. He had been a long time subscriber. And then you just get so caught up in the moment. You enjoy your time with them that, you know, the last thing you want to do is stick a camera in their face. And that's kind of what happened this weekend. You know, Stuart Appleton showed up from Georgia on Friday afternoon. And from that time on, it was just the best weekend ever. You know, guy after guy showing up and just getting to know them and spend time with them and so forth. So anyway, all that to say, don't expect this to be like one of my more outstanding videos. It's not. There's not hardly any ride footage. The weather was kind of crappy. It rained on us when we first took off. Then it kind of cleared up. And then when we got to the destination down at Mom and Dad's, it was pretty nice down there. But about the instant we got ready to load up and take off again, well, it really rained on us for the first half of that ride. And then again, it cleared up. And actually, the last 30 miles after the final fuel stop was probably the best riding of the whole day. And we just had a great time. But anyway, thought I'd just go ahead and work on getting something out there for you guys. So this is going to be real choppy, you know, and it's going to be video and pictures that have been, some I've taken, some that were submitted by other subscribers and so forth. And I'll try and give you guys credit when I put those in there. If I forget to mention somebody and give them photo credit, I sure do apologize. But guys, thanks, and away we go.
It's a 1980 Honda CT110. It's the only year Honda didn't put the dual range transmission on these bikes. This was the switchover year from a CT90 to a CT110. So this 1980 is the only one without that dual range transmission. This is Mark's. He came from Illinois.
Mark sent me this picture. When he bought this bike, it did not have rear turn signals. Someone had taken golf balls and painted them red and mounted them where the turn signals go.
Did you get, like I just got this. Yeah, this did the same thing on the charge board, and it's.
This is a copy of an RV90. It's a SkyTeam T-Rex. Hey Brian, is this 125?
It is.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
Brian lives just north of me on the north side of Indianapolis, and he just picked up that little T-Rex bike a few days before the ride. Actually, it popped up on Facebook Marketplace, and he texted me and asked me if it would be all right if he brought that. And I'm like, well, heck yeah, it's basically a horizontal Honda engine in it. It fits just right in with what we're doing, so go ahead and grab that. So I think he picked that bike up for like $750, and it performed flawlessly all day long. Those great big huge tires are just a hoot. If you've ever heard an old square body Chevrolet truck rolling down the street on 38-inch mud tires, that's what that bike sounds like when it's rolling down the road beside you. So anyway, Brian, great bike.
So that's cool. Big tire. You've got a Ice Bear Leo. Blake came from the Dayton area, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
When the battery's down, it's down.
And that's a 125cc also, correct? Yep.
Not on it.
Now, I don't think Blake was a regular subscriber to the channel prior to the ride this weekend. I actually met Blake through one of the Ice Bear Facebook pages, and he had put a message on, he was looking for somebody to ride with in his area over in Dayton. And I said, hey, you know, I'm not really in Dayton, but we're going to be having this ride over here in south of Indy if you want to come over. And he came over and joined. And guys, I got to tell you, I've always been a little skeptical of the little Ice Bear Leo bikes. They're just, you know, they're little tiny little things. And Blake is taller than I am, and he rode the heck out of that thing. That might have been the fastest bike in the whole group of the little horizontal engine bikes. It absolutely would rip, and it was just a hoot to watch him. And I mean, I'm watching him in the mirror behind me, and he's on my tail, and he's taking twisties and turns on this thing, and it's just a riot. So I think he outfitted it with a little bit bigger tires than what it came on stock, but I think he has a different pipe on it or something. But anyway, if you're thinking about a Ice Bear Leo, if they all run anything like what Blake's run, grab it when you can, because I think he got that bike for $300 off of a buddy of his.
No, I don't have one hooked up on this.
Okay. That's all.
And then Tom's CT or Trail 125.
Now, that was my first time to actually see one of the Trail 125s in person right there where I could touch it. And what an impressive little bike. I've never been a huge fan of the step-through models, the CT90s, the CT110s, and so forth. I have had a few in the past, but I didn't have one as a kid, so I wasn't really looking for that type of bike. And after seeing Tom's, I'd pull the trigger on one of those if the right deal came along. That is a really nice running bike. It's got a similar engine to, I think, the Grom has in it. It's fuel injected, might have a little bit different gearing or something like that. But Tom, I appreciate him. He was our second longest traveler. He came from Iowa. I think he came from 5.5 hours away, 6 hours away, something like that. And I really do appreciate that, Tom, that you came and joined us. Had a great time hanging out with you, and your bike absolutely is amazing. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Stuart's Ice Bear, and then the two SL70s and the CT78. So we got about a half hour before we leave, so hopefully a few more guys will show up. If not, we'll have fun with what we got.
All right, so I got to give a huge thanks to the three guys and the three bikes that you just saw. The blue CT70 clone, which is an Ice Bear Champion clone. That was Stuart Appleton. Stuart came up from Georgia, and he arrived on Friday afternoon, and he stuck around. He camped, actually, pulled a camper and stayed here at the shop, and then he left Sunday morning and just had a fantastic time with Stuart. What a wonderful person he is. If you're looking to get a small bike or a clone of a CT70, get the Ice Bear Champion. It is, in my opinion, the best clone of that bike. There's the Amigo Rocky and maybe a couple others, but that Ice Bear Champion, Stuart rode that thing all day. It never had an issue. Now, they do have some things you have to kind of tweak out of the box. They don't come with the greatest carburetor in the world, and they have a horrible petcock reserve and setting thing on them that sits too high that you can't really use the last half of the tank, and they come with kind of small tires. Now, Stuart had gone ahead and replaced all that. He had the standard 4x10 tires. He put a carburetor on it that had a shutoff on it, so he got rid of the petcock issues, so he had no fuel flow issues. And then he had replaced the original exhaust with a Bart Moto exhaust, and wow, does it sound? It sounds great. I think I actually maybe have a film footage of when he let me ride it. I'll try and slide that in here so hopefully you can hear that. But again, if you're looking to get into the small bike market and you want to get one, check out the Ice Bear Champion. I think they're selling for around $1,500 delivered to your door, and which is just a really good deal. The red SL70 that you saw, that's Scott Gold from down in Kentucky, and that's one of 3 bikes Scott has purchased off of me. I built that one, can't remember, it's probably been a year or so ago, and Scott came up and picked it up. And again, it's got a Lifen 125 in it, and it performed great all day long. It's geared a little bit lower than the yellow bike that I built. I don't remember exactly what gearing I had on that one, but he could pull away from me from a dead stop. He had a little more torque, a little more oomph right out of the gate. Now, this one will run him down and probably, pass him if you give it a quarter of a mile stretch for me to catch him. But he had no issues with that bike, and it ran great all day. And I really appreciate Scott coming up and riding with us. And then the green CT70H, that's Alex. He just lives just half hour north of me. We did a video where we put that engine in that bike, and I really appreciate Alex. Because he's local and he's been to my shop a few times, and he kind of knew some of the roads around here. Like Friday night when we went and did a bike ride, I could kind of send him ahead, and because and let him lead the pack, because he was somewhat familiar with the area, and then I could lay back and film and do some things like that. So Alex, I appreciate that. And his bike sounds great also. He's got the CHP K0 replica pipe on that, which is really cool. But guys, each and every one of you, I can't remember if I said it or not, Stuart came, his drive was like 9 hours or better, and for someone to drive 9 hours to come ride mini bikes with me and with the group, that's just I'd have to think twice whether or not I'd do that. And so Stuart, I really do appreciate that. You're a tremendous fella. Thanks.
I love that exhaust.
I bet there's a small bike.
So the bikes that you just saw in that segment all were part of one club from in the Bloomington, Indiana area. And I appreciate that they came up and joined. I can't remember, I think there were 9 bikes. A real eclectic group, CB 125s, little monkey bikes, a 350, and then they had that little pooch or however you say that, little green bike. And unfortunately, he wasn't quite able to keep up to the pace that we were trying to keep of 35 to 40 mile an hour. And so real early on in the ride, he made the decision to go ahead and put his bike in the chase truck. And two things. One, I really appreciate he attempted and made the effort. And then I also appreciate that he recognized that he wasn't going to be able to keep up and didn't want to hold us back. And so we were able to stay on schedule and so forth. So I do appreciate that. But guys in the club, thank you for joining. Unfortunately, they didn't get to finish the ride with us. At the 60-mile mark where we stopped for fuel, that was a really convenient spot for them to head back south to go to Bloomington, while we were scheduled to head north to come back up to Martinsville. And it just would have added a whole lot more miles to their ride. Plus the weather at that point was still kind of misty, raining. But unfortunately, they probably did miss the best part of the ride, because while we were there at the fuel station, filling up the bikes, the weather kind of cleaned up and cleared up, and that last 30-mile blast from that fuel stop back to my shop were probably the best roads that we got to ride on, and the weather was the best. So anyway, one of the guys from the club sent me a group photo I believe they took before they headed out on Saturday to come up here. So I'll post that group photo of the NARPs and try and figure out who sent that to me and give you guys photo credit for that. But I do appreciate that you joined.
First fuel stop in Nashville, Indiana, Brown County. We've had one casualty. We had one bike that's in the back of the truck, but everybody else is going strong. We're halfway, about the little over the halfway mark on the trip there. So. Well, we made it to the destination. We lost one bike, couldn't quite keep up, so he wound up being in the back of the truck and riding in the chase truck. But then everybody else was doing pretty good. We could travel 40 to 45 mile an hour pretty easy, and made it here in decent time. We had one wrong turn. I let the chase truck go ahead to try and get some film footage of us following them, and they got so involved in doing the filming that they missed a turn, so I had to kind of run down a couple guys, but it didn't slow us down, but about maybe 20 minutes or so, something like that. We had to kind of regroup and get back together, but they're all here, made it to the destination, and I'll take you and walk you through, let you see some of Dad's stuff. This RV90 clone is just a really neat little bike. Of course, they put a Honda clone engine on it. It doesn't have a Suzuki clone. This is the Hondaka. It's an old Hodaka with a Honda 200 or 250. Is this a 200 engine? Yeah, 200, Honda 200 on it. My dad goes to antique tractor shows, and he likes to have different trailers set up so he doesn't take the same thing to every show. So this one's full of hay forks, hay hooks, and hog oilers. What do you guys think of this?
That is amazing. This is what they call it, the revolver.
Yeah, it's based on old machine shops back in the day would have one power source, and then it's called a line shaft. Then they would have, they had it up in the ceiling, one shaft that ran down through the middle of the building, and then each machine just had a belt that went up to that. Okay. And it was all powered. And you could, unhook each one like a clutch engage. But yeah, so that's what he's got. He's got the engine.
Right. Yeah.
Then it's turning one shaft, and it goes down, and then
the blade here.
Yeah.
I noticed it's pumping water over.
Yeah. He's actually even got it where it's pumping water. And
that cuts blades.
No, that's a saw set. So what it's supposed to do, it sets the teeth.
Oh, it's got an angle.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's just so cool.
He's actually got the blade turned upside down, but it still cuts that little piece of wood off every so often. Just wears it out. There's just so much stuff, it's hard to take it all in.
Got a lot of stuff, doesn't he? Yeah. I like how he's taking these old steel rims. These I don't know what those are off of, but then he's laid them horizontal and used them, and then hooked stuff on them. All right, so I got to jump in here now and just give a huge shout out to my mom and dad and my sister for their efforts on Saturday. Mom and Dad, thank you very, very much for opening up your property and allowing us to invade it and to look around and see your collections and stuff. I know how much effort you put into getting everything ready, pulling out those trailers, and just having it just right for the guys when they showed up to be able to enjoy it. And I want you to know that did not go unnoticed, how much work you put into that. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I wish we'd have got to stick around a little bit longer. We kind of were rushing, I think, there toward the end. We thought weather was coming in, and in hindsight, we probably should have stayed another half hour or so and let the rain pass, because, boy, did we get caught in some weather after a few minutes after we left your place. But, that's just part of the adventure, what happened. So, again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you very, very much for everything that you did. Mom and my sister prepared sandwiches and had all the fixings to go with that. And so there was lunch for guys who wanted to get it, and drinks and so forth. So all in all, just a fabulous time. And to the three of you, love you. Thank you for all the efforts that you put into just making it a great day for all of us. I want to say it again, how much I appreciate each and every one of you that came and rode. I had the best time. Even though it was cold and wet and the weather really didn't do what we thought it was going to do, y'all hung in there and it was a terrific ride. I hope you all had fun. So, yes. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it. So, thank you. All right, and we will, we'll probably do this again in the spring. Cool. Yeah. I got to give a shout out to those guys you just saw in that section of the video. Those are the 7 guys that completed the whole 90-mile ride with me, that started from the shop all the way down, all the way back to the shop, and I really appreciate it. We had such a blast that last 30-mile stretch, just letting the bikes roar and go. And we actually hit a strip, a spot at about we were maybe 6 or 7 miles away from the shop to the end of the ride. And I decided that, we're going to open them up. We're going to see what they'll do. Because the whole day we'd been kind of holding back, riding maybe 45 mile an hour tops most of the time. And I thought, let's just let them rip. And so the 2 or 3 guys that were around me, I kind of gave a signal to, hey, let's go, let's go. So we hit a flat stretch where we could just open them up. And I'll show you on the GPS on my bike. I think we hit 59 mile an hour at our top speed, but we were just giving it everything they had. And all of a sudden it dawns on me as we're ripping down through there that Mark is on a CT 110 that probably can't go much more than 45 mile an hour. And I'm in my mirror and I don't see Mark. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we've run off and left one of the guys. That's not good. So I don't know how many miles. We went a couple miles ripping it as fast as we could get. So I told whoever was beside me, I said, hey, listen, you go on, this road will just take you all the way into the shop. I'm going to fall back and I'm going to find Mark. Well, about the time I, was telling him this, I look in my rearview mirror and I see this CT 110 just bombing. I mean, he's giving it hell. He's giving it everything he's got, and he's catching up to us as we're, slowing down. And I'm still smiling about it. It just puts a smile on my face. And so yesterday I'm watching football and I'm thinking through my mind, I want to write a text to Mark, and basically I wanted to apologize to him for the group leaving him like that. And I'm thinking through my mind of how I want to word this and so forth, when all of a sudden my phone chimes and it's Mark. And he's like, I just got to tell you, the best part of that ride was when apparently what happened was he was running out of fuel and he needed to switch it to reserve. And that's, between that and then us taking off, that's how he fell back so far. Once he switched his bike to reserve and he got fuel again, well, then he was able to, speed up. And so he's texting me. He said, I just got to tell you, the best part of the entire ride was me just giving it everything it could do to in the twisties and so forth, trying to catch you guys. He said at one point his speedometer was even, he said at one point I hit warp speed. So it kind of made me feel a whole lot better about, that we had kind of left him behind, because he had a great attitude about it. And I think he had a blast just riding that, what would that be? 43-year-old bike as fast as it would go to try and catch us. And he did, and it was just a fantastic time. So Mark, I'm glad that you are okay with the way it went, and caught back up to us. It was just really, really fun. But thanks to those 7 guys that you just saw in that video for finishing the ride with me and completing all 90.18 miles. On my little yellow SL70, I outfitted it with a mini GPS, and it looks like it recorded that we went 90.18 miles. We did so at an average speed of 34.2 miles per hour with a top speed of 59 miles an hour. And I'm going to guess that was in that final blast, probably the last 5 miles from the shop. As we were heading home, the last of us who were still riding, we opened it up as fast as we could go, and it looks like we hit 59 miles an hour. The last round of thank yous I need to put out on this video are, one, to my wife, Mama Warner. She drove along in our SUV and carried wives along with her so that they could enjoy the trip with their husbands. So, Amy, I appreciate that you took time out of your day to do that. The next one is my son, Brock. He drove the chase truck, and Brock, I certainly do appreciate that you took time out of your day on your Saturday to come down and follow along and make sure the guys were safe, and pick up bikes if they needed help and do those sorts of things. I really do appreciate that. And then riding along with Brock was Zach. He is one of Brock's employees. He does a lot of videography, the social media work for the company up in Indianapolis. And I'll be really curious to see what he puts together, because where I didn't catch any ride footage, I think Zach might have caught quite a bit of that. And, he's just much more experienced at putting these videos together. So his is going to be a lot slicker than mine is. So we'll look forward to seeing that, see what he puts together. But the 3 of you, thank you for your efforts. And again, taking time out of your weekend to come join us and participate with this ride. Thanks. As I watch Stuart pull away on Sunday morning, and then in a second, you're going to see Scott pull away with his bike a little bit later on Sunday, I just have to stop and think about what a tremendous weekend this was. It started at Friday afternoon about 4 when Stuart arrived, and other people started arriving from out of town. We had a great time Friday night. Saturday, we had a really good ride. Even though the weather wasn't that great, we bonded, and it's just a thrill to know that there's other guys out there who think along the same way I do, and they love these little bikes, and they enjoy building them and riding them. And we'll probably have a spring ride. So I'll look forward to seeing you on that. Everybody, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.